Feilu Novel Network Exclusive Contract Novel. Me. Chengcai, Grassland Class 5 Sign-in for 365 days, Team Annihilation Old A, traveling through the world of soldier assault, unexpectedly discovering that I have become the original Class 5 Captain Cheng Cai.Being humiliated and returned by Old A, misunderstanding oneself as selfish and ruthless by comrades in arms. Was assigned to the original guard stationed at the training ground. Chengcai felt that his military career was coming to an end. Fortunately, with the check.In system, you can receive rewards by checking in at different places every day. Check in at the post and obtain the perfect disguise, skill check in at the military camp and obtain the Advanced Firearms Use, skill *original check.in, obtaining the Advanced Sniper.God, skill 1 year later, during the annual exercise, the red and blue armies engaged in a confrontation, and the blue army used special tactics to encircle and suppress the red army. But at a critical moment in the exercise, the main force of the blue army, Old A, was tragically annihilated by the regiment. Half of the reconnaissance battalion of the division was named one by a mysterious sniper. Yuan Lang. This is the most shameful battle for Old A.Gao Cheng. Why are you crazy and even beating your own people? Captain Wang. Take a fewFeilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1228, Item 2 begins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As you say, all of his people can temporarily catch their breath and then continue. What's the use of this disconnected training? If you want to be eliminated, come up to me immediately. As soon as Chengcai said this, the person was really scared, so he quickly entered the water and continued to hold his breath. Under the strictness of Chengcai, no one dared to come up, even if they were holding it back until it was almost impossible, they still persevered. As soon as 3 minutes arrived, Chengcai shouted that time was up. The people underwater immediately surfaced, panting heavily on the surface one by one. Chengcai took a closer look and saw that these people had different expressions. Some people have rosy faces, but others have pale faces, while others seem to pass 3 minutes effortlessly. And the relaxed few people, Chengcai, all fell silent in secret. He believed that their future performance would not disappoint him. 3 minutes have passed, and no one has been eliminated. After he finished speaking, everyone cheered and swam towards the shore. After all these team members landed, Chengcai told them to start the second task immediately. So fast, don't you even let us rest. I almost suffocated to death just now. Everyone protested against Chengcai, and as soon as Chengcai heard this, his eyes flashed over. Okay, then you guys go home. Instructor, we were wrong. Let's go ashore now. As soon as they heard that they were going home, they immediately became discouraged and came out of the water one by one. Chengcai turned his head and got on the car, driving with Feilu to the venue of the second competition. Follow the car. He let out a sound and the troops behind the sea ran non-stop all the way, finally reaching the location of the second mission. But by this time, those soldiers were exhausted and sitting on the ground to rest one by one. Chengcai has already prepared people for the second training, which is armed.Road with a load of 10 kilograms. He turned to look at the people sitting on the ground resting, who probably had never received such strict training before. I am well aware of all of this, but since it is training, it must be strict. Otherwise, what is the difference between it and playing games? Are you ready? If you don't come here to gather within a minute, you'll be eliminated immediately. As soon as Chengcai said this, everyone rushed to his side and immediately began queuing up to count. Very good, in the second competition, the weight is 10 kilograms. Remember, if anyone can't do it later, they will be eliminated immediately. When they heard the word eliminate, everyone perked up and didn't want to lose face by eliminating. Your performance in the first item just now was very good. If you can pass the first item, you can pass the second item. There are still many competitions ahead, and I hope none of you will fall behind. We have been a team since the start of the competition, don't embarrass the entire team. Chengcai spoke up to everyone and reminded them, and in his opinion, the time he said these words was already enough time for these people to rest. Are you resting well? Chengcai's words fell and everyone looked at him in surprise. Instructor, we haven't rested for 2 minutes yet. Can you give us another minute? Yeah, at least let's take a 3-minute break. Upon hearing these words, Chengcai showed a wicked smile on his face. Chapter 1. Group Annihilation of Old A, 1/5 for collection. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. Team Annihilation of Old A Northwest Wilderness. The vast expanse of Lus was carried up into the sky by the northwest wind, and wherever you go, you feel grey and hazy. At this point, there is only one color on the grassland. Yellow. That withered, lifeless yellow color. On the grassland hundreds of kilometers away from the capital, a battle is nearing its end. The annual confrontation exercise of the military district is in full swing, and the red and blue armies have engaged in fierce battles on this vast wilderness. The Blue Army adopts a new tactic of special operations against conventional operations. The main force of the Blue Army, Old A, was like a sharp blade, piercing straight into the chest of the Red Army, leaving them at a loss and without any fighting power. The gunfire gradually faded away. Several Special Forces soldiers wearing khaki auspicious suits walked out of the ambush site. Not far from these people, several armored vehicles and trucks were parked on the roadside, with dozens of soldiers holding 95 steps, looking at these Special Forces soldiers with angry expressions. These soldiers are emitting yellow smoke, indicating that they have been killed in the battle just now. Pumpkin, did we have a good fight? A Special Forces soldier chuckled and said. Another person also followed suit and said with a smile, a combat team ambushed most of the platoon, not only killing them all, but also capturing many spoils of war. I don't know if the Red Army supplies had liquid bombs. Get lost, who dares to do that during the exercise? The Special Forces soldier with the code name, Pumpkin, pouted. Whoever dares, we Old A dares. The other Special Forces soldiers frowned. This convoy was given care for by the Red Army, but unexpectedly it was ambushed by the Blue Army. Do you Old A understand the exercise rules? Are all the supply convoys ambushing? The lieutenant in charge looked angry and shouted at the other party. I'm sorry, Lieutenant. Pumpkin walked over and saluted the other party before explaining with a smile, the order we received was to attack all the Red Army in the exercise area, so we just followed the order. According to the exercise rules, you have been killed, please leave on your own. We have seized this batch of supplies. You. The lieutenant was furious. Just about to speak. Pop. In the distance, a crisp gunshot came. Before he could react, he saw a yellow smoke emanating from the Special Forces soldier opposite him. The lieutenant was momentarily stunned. He knows too well what emitting yellow smoke means, which means that the other party's laser receiving device has been triggered, which means you have been shot dead. It's not over yet. This gunshot has just passed. Pop, 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 pop. Continuous gunshots rang out. Before these Special Forces could react, they found that everyone on their side had been killed. Gulu. The lieutenant swallowed his saliva, his face full of confusion. What's going on? Are there any friendly forces nearby? That's not right. There should be only one person listening to the sparse gunshots. Is it a sniper? It's even more wrong. As a 5-year veteran, he could clearly tell that the sound of gunfire was like bar. Shit. In what era is it that someone still uses the bar? When did the Red Army produce such a skilled marksman, with a shot and a gun hitting? At this moment, this group of Special Forces soldiers also reacted. Damn it. Were we actually ambushed? Am I dreaming of using the bar as a sniper rifle? Pumpkin had a gloomy expression on his face, his gaze fixed on the distant hill. I'm careless. I thought I would be invincible after finishing most of their company, but I didn't expect to capsize in the sewer. Just who knew there was an ambush on that hill? 800 meters away, on a slightly sloping slope, a person stood up from a pile of miscellaneous grass. He was wrapped in a earthy yellow camouflage cloth, perfectly blending with his surroundings. If you don't walk within 5 meters, you won't be able to find him at all. This person walked quickly towards this side. After entering, everyone realized that the gun in his hand was very strange. Surprisingly, it's really an 8-1 bar. However, there is a scope tied to the bolt of this bar gun. It's not a professional sniper rifle sight, but a civilian one. The combination of the two is as comical as possible. But everyone couldn't laugh because they used this funny gun to shoot and kill 5 Special Forces soldiers in a row. Is that you? Pumpkin finally recognized this person, frowning and his face instantly becoming very bright. A year ago, this soldier named Chengcai was returned by Old A due to failing his assessment. Unexpectedly, Feng Shui took turns, and a year later, he and his special operations team suffered a huge loss at the hands of this guy. Chengcai, aren't you guarding the training ground? When did you participate in the exercise? Pumpkin was curious but also angry. This kid is indeed a sniper genius, but unfortunately his mental state does not meet Old A's requirements. How to say it? In Chi Huan's words, this kid is too chicken thief and does not meet the taste of Yuan Brigade. Yuan Brigade likes soldiers who look clumsy but have perseverance and resilience in their work, such as Comrade Su Sanduo and Comrade Su Mumu, who have gained a lot of attention this year. Chengcai glanced at Pumpkin and said, the 702nd Regiment is the main force of the Red Army. I am a soldier of the 702nd Regiment. When will I need to report to your Senior A for the exercise? Lieutenant, you have been killed. Put all your equipment on the ground, and I have the right to use your equipment. His voice was a bit hoarse, but more icy. P.S. Just to explain, this book is set against the backdrop of soldier assault. At that time, there was no strict prohibition on alcohol and drinking was allowed. There were also frequent scenes of gatherings and drinking in TV dramas. Chapter 2. Check-in System, Obtaining Skills, February 5th Seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Check-in System, Obtaining Skills. A year ago, due to an accident, Chengcai traveled to this parallel world. At the beginning of his journey, he discovered that he had become a talent in the TV series, Soldier Assault. At this moment, he had just been humiliated and returned by Old A, and could only return to Grassland Class 5 in a disheveled manner to guard the training ground. The thought of wanting to join Old A with all my passion, but being rejected by someone with an extremely insulting reason, made my teeth itch with hatred when I became successful. He knew that his previous self was indeed a bit more utilitarian, but he had never cheated on anyone and was smiling at everyone. From rural areas. Without education or background, everything can only rely on oneself. He knows he's not easy, so he works harder than others. Success is a soldier who never gives up on himself. He knows more about soldiers than Su Sanduo, is more determined and persistent than Wu Liuyi, and is gentler than Shi Jin. So his path is more winding and meaningful. In fact, success is more like all those who strive to live and want to live better. The road ahead is not smooth, but I have never given up. This is truly not abandoning, not giving up. Only by not abandoning oneself and not giving up oneself can one be qualified to not abandoning, not giving up others. As for Su Sanduo, just someone with the protagonist's aura. Although others are really good. System, sign in at the ambush location. Chengcai silently ordered in his heart. After arriving in this world for a month, Chengcai bound the check.in system. As long as you persist in checking in at different places every day, you will receive rewards, and the more special places you sign in, the richer the rewards you will receive. Ding, successful check.In. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the skill Night Vision skill. In my mind, the electronic synthesis sound of the system rang out. Chengcai has long been accustomed to this sound. However, he was still pleased to hear that he had gained skills through this check.In. This check.In skill can be checked in every day, but because Grassland Class 5 is too remote, there is nothing special about it. So over the past year, apart from obtaining a few skills such as sniper skills, devil instructor skills, and danger perception skills, the rest of the check.In not only earned points to improve skill levels, but also obtained some irrelevant trinkets. And this time, I signed in at the ambush location and obtained a new skill, which I was overjoyed to achieve. This ambush was not in vain. Wearing 5 sets of special forces equipment on his shoulders, Chengcai didn't say a word of nonsense to these people and turned around to leave. The speed was so fast that in just a blink of an eye, he had already disappeared on the back of the mountain slope. Pumpkin, who is this person? He's so amazing, the special forces soldier asked. Pumpkin had a gloomy expression on his face and said, the person who was returned by our Old A, is why he is so cruel to us. I don't know, the others chuckled. 800 meters away, using the buy bar to call the roll one by one, without any empty shots or even giving us time to react, this kind of person was actually returned by our Old A. Except for Pumpkin, everyone else is a rookie who only joined Old A this year. And although these rookies are conceited, they have to admit that the soldier who ambushed them is far more powerful than their own group of people. There is a reason for returning a product, even if our military skills are excellent and other aspects are not up to par, we still refuse to accept it. Don't talk too much, hurry up and return it. It's really embarrassing to throw it at Grandma's house today. Pumpkin cursed. Class monitor, have you come back? Before entering the barracks, Deputy Squad Leader Xue Lin greeted them. He saw Chengcai carrying a lot of equipment and quickly picked up a part of it. He asked, Captain, where did you get these equipment from? Those who ambushed us, let's have our brothers pick and choose. Each person has their own set. Today, we will also have foreign meat and wear Old A's equipment. Chengcai replied. Xue Lin chuckled, are these equipment from Old A? Yeah. Are you referring to ambush as an ambush for Old A? Yeah, what's wrong? Our Class 5 did not participate in the exercise again. You ambushed Old A, what should they report? Xue Lin worried. It's okay, we are also soldiers of the 702nd Regiment, and our superior did not order us Class 5 to participate in this exercise, so I don't consider it a violation of the exercise rules. Try it on. Chengcai looked indifferent. This annual confrontation exercise was conducted by Chengcai's division as the Red Army, while the Blue Army was a composite brigade. And the main force of the Blue Army is Old A. Xue Lin was still a bit worried. Class monitor, you ambushed someone and even stole their equipment. This. Isn't that good, is it? Why are you so talkative? Isn't it not that you don't return it? Just give it back to them after the exercise is over. If this is a real battlefield, these are all my spoils of war. Do you want them? Don't count them as begging. Chengcai became impatient. Yes, Xue Lin quickly grabbed a set of equipment. After putting on the lucky suit, he held a 95 assault rifle and said to Chengcai with a lively expression, Captain, I'll go call those thugs to collect the equipment. Go ahead. Chengcai waved his hand, picked up a sniper rifle, and played with it in his hand. This is a Type 88 sniper rifle with a small caliber, long range, and high accuracy, which is much more impressive than my own Bai-Bo. He went upstairs with a gun and lay on the roof. My gaze penetrated through the sight, and I could see every move on the grassland. The standard sight is indeed better than my civilian bully, not only can it see farther and clearer, but it can also distinguish distance. The longest effective range of this Type 88 sniper rifle should be around 1,000 meters, but Chengcai has confidence that he can use this rifle to shoot 100 shots within 1,500 meters. Boom boom, boom boom boom. The roar of armored vehicles came from a distance. Chengcai stood up and looked into the distance with a scope, only to see an armored unit approaching in his direction. Are there any troops coming here to camp? Chengcai put away his gun and turned around to go downstairs. Chapter 3. Why Are You So Proud, March 5th. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Why are you so proud? The convoy stretches on the grassland, as if there is no end in sight. Roughly estimated, there are at least 50 armored vehicles, tanks, and command vehicles of various models. This is a fully armored battalion. The training ground covers an area of about 1,000 square kilometers, equivalent to the size of a county, but such a vast area has now been designated as a military restricted zone. Tens of thousands of people were caught and fought fiercely in certain areas. Grassland Class 5, the usual tranquility has been shattered by the roar of the motor. At this moment, the sun is setting in the west. The first car drove into the station of Class 5. All members of Grassland Class 5 stood in front of the guard and saluted the commanding vehicle. No way, who said Class 5 was raised by my stepmother. On the command vehicle. The deputy commander of the reconnaissance battalion under the direct command of the division, Gao Cheng, looked at the talented person who saluted him with a somewhat complicated mood. This soldier was also his soldier. However, when the Steel 7th Company was about to be reorganized, this soldier transferred to the Red 3rd Company in order to obtain a limited number of non-commissioned officers. This makes Gao Cheng very disgusted. In his opinion, what is the difference between this and deserters? Moreover, it was at a critical moment when the Steel 7th Company was about to be reorganized, it was like hitting a stone in the well. As a second-generation soldier, Gao Cheng never considers his future and only does what he wants to do. So he wouldn't consider the desire of a soldier from the countryside to forge a future in the military camp. Is switching to the Red 3rd Company a deserter? What is deserter? When war comes and your country needs you, take off your military uniform. This is the deserter. There are too many top soldiers in the Steel 7th Company, even good soldiers like those in history cannot avoid the outcome of being discharged. I dare not gamble on success. Moreover, he has never been the most outstanding group in the eyes of Takagi. If he continues to hold on to the Steel 7th Company, he may end up with a discharge during the reorganization. Who should he talk to? All units, pay attention. Gao Cheng held the walkie-talkie. Based on the red 5 stars on the ground, camp 200 meters east. He plans to camp at the 5th class station tonight. This military exercise, the reconnaissance battalion directly under the division is the reserve team, and there is currently no need to go to the battlefield. Captain, success is the key, Gan Xiaoning whispered. As a veteran of the Steel 7th Company, he naturally recognized his talent. On the side, Ma Xiaoshui was a little curious. Who is Chengcai? When he came to Steel 7th Company, Chengcai had already gone to Red 3rd Company. You don't know the deserters of our Steel 7th Company, Gan Xiaoning disdainfully said. At that time, rumors about the reorganization of our 7th Company were flying everywhere. This kid was afraid of returning home after being discharged, so he quietly transferred to the Red 3rd Company. Hee. I didn't expect to be a sergeant, but he was assigned to Grassland 5th class. Do you know Grassland 5th class? The hell of the squad leader, the heaven of lazy soldiers. His words revealed schadenfreude. Ma Xiaoshui lay on the car window, looking at the tidy military camp and the 5 upright soldiers at the sentry post, with a puzzled expression on his face. It's not like that, the military camp is clean and tidy, and the military posture is standardized. You don't understand anything, Gan Xiaoning scolded. Knowing how to stand in a military posture is useless. It's not like being beaten back by Old A and losing face. Shut up, Gao Cheng cursed. In just 1 year, he made this wasteland a resting place for training troops who would rather take a detour. Can you do it for you? Showing off your skills is useless. Kicked open the car door. Get off the car. Chengcai welcomed him forward. Pop. Salute. Vice Commander Gao. His words were neither affectionate nor distant. Gao Cheng returned the gift and glanced at the 88 style in Chengcai's hand. He said somewhat strangely, "Why, did you change your equipment?" Chengcai didn't explain, looked around for a week, and then asked, "Will the armored battalion camp here tonight?" "Yes." "Okay, there's oil and supplies, I'll arrange it now." After saying that, Chengcai bowed again and turned around before leaving. Gao Cheng looked at Chengcai's back and felt lost in thought. Not seen for over a year, this soldier has almost changed. It's not a change in appearance, but a change in mentality. "I used to be very good at being a person, and I laughed with everyone. How to put it, it's very cunning, with all sides exquisite. Unlike now, it is low-key, pragmatic, and has a coldness that rejects people thousands of miles away. There is another type. I don't know what pride is." "Yes, proud and proud." Gao Cheng pursed his lips, but when Old A hit him back, he still showed his pride. "How about giving it a try tonight to see how much weight you have and what kind of pride you have?" Night falls. The usually deserted military camp is very lively today. Chengcai, along with his comrades from Class 5, distributed liquid bombs to the armored battalion and said, "Brothers, there's not enough food to talk about." Feilu arrived. Feilu, who was busy on the side, immediately walked over. "Go get the bottle opener and open the caps for the brothers." "Yes." Feilu quickly ran towards the barracks. After setting up the guard post, Gao Cheng walked over and saw the busy Chengcai, shouting at him, "Chengcai." Chengcai walked over and said, "Deputy Battalion Commander. Let's have a meal together later." Chengcai squeezed out a smile and said, "The comrades in Class 5 have already prepared their meals, so I won't disturb you anymore. What I mean is, we are directly under the reconnaissance battalion of our division. Let's have a meal together with your Grassland Class 5. Having said everything for this reason, Chengcai could only nod and agree. "Okay, listen to the arrangements of the Deputy Battalion Commander, I'll go and call them all over." "Go ahead," Takagi waved his hand. Not far away, Ma Xiaoshui looked puzzled and said, "Don't our soldiers from Old Steel 7th Company call themselves company leaders when they encounter them? How did they become successful and call them deputy battalion leaders?" Gan Xiaoning dried half of the beer in one gulp and said, "Who said he's a soldier of our Old Steel 7th Company?" Chapter 4 Grassland Class 5, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, 4 out of 5 Seeking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Grassland Class 5, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Brothers. Gao Cheng held a wine bottle and spoke. Suddenly, the noisy environment fell silent, and everyone turned their gaze to Gao Cheng. "Tonight, we can still have a hot meal and a sip of liquid explosives here. Tomorrow, we will go to the battlefield and probably have to eat compressed biscuits for most of the month, so we're open to eating today." "Okay," everyone exclaimed loudly. However, liquid explosives can only be used one person per bottle, too much is not allowed, you know. "Yes." After finishing speaking, Gao Cheng looked at the 5 people of Class 5 on the grassland and said, "Of course, you can freely play and drink as much as you can. Becoming successful is somewhat difficult. Deputy Battalion Commander, our Class 5 does not drink alcohol." Gao Cheng looked at the 5 people sitting upright with a strange expression. Although the military has strict management and discipline, it is normal for them to occasionally gather for meals and drink alcohol. Especially for the edge troops like Grassland Class 5, who have no other tasks besides guarding the training ground for a year and a half, how can they not drink alcohol? Hee hee. Gao Cheng sneered. It's not about not drinking alcohol, but about not giving me face. It seems that your 5th class has stricter management than our directly affiliated reconnaissance battalion. There is a thorn in the words. Chengcai sighed helplessly. He doesn't want to offend Takagi to the death. Moreover, the people of Gao Cheng are not bad, but as the 2nd generation of the army, they are somewhat self-righteous. Okay, listen to the arrangement of the deputy battalion commander. Chengcai took the lead in holding up his cup and raised his hands in front of Gao Cheng. Gao Cheng touched his glass and then said, I'm the final say, right? Yes. By the way, we happen to have a few guys in our camp who have decent marksmanship. I remember you also had good marksmanship when you were in 7th Company. Let's improvise after dinner. Gao Cheng said. That's his goal tonight. He wants to know, this soldier, this once smooth, now proud soldier. What is his proud capital? If he does have the capital of arrogance, Gao Cheng doesn't mind pushing the boat along the river and recommends him to a better company. If it's just to maintain a fragile self-esteem. So just stay well in Class 5. Gao Cheng drank his beer in one gulp and turned around to leave. Deputy Battalion Commander. Chengcai stopped him. Gao Cheng turned around and looked towards Chengcai. The phrase, passable, in your mouth is already a gun god, forget it. How? You dare not. Gao Cheng looked at Chengcai with a smile on his face, I really dare not. Chengcai welcomed Gao Cheng. Gao Cheng's face slowly became gloomy. My soldiers didn't say, dare not. How long have you been away from the 7th Company? Have you completely lost the temperament of the 7th Company? Deputy Battalion Commander. As Chengcai was about to speak, a sudden voice rang out beside him. Deputy Class Monitor Lin stood up and saluted Gao Cheng before saying, our class monitor doesn't like playing with guns, why don't I come? You. Gao Cheng looked up and down, his eyes filled with contempt. What kind of thing are you? Have you ever touched a gun? Or rather, have you ever fired live ammunition in your Grassland Class 5? Do you really think you're a genius after training shooting at most 10 times a year? If you are really a genius, why are you still staying in Class 5? Who doesn't know that Grassland Class 5 is the leader's nightmare and the paradise of lazy soldiers? Alternatively, any one of the 4 of us would be fine, Lin said again. Hee hee. Gao Cheng laughed back in anger. I can't believe that Grassland Class 5 is still crouching tigers and hiding dragons. Alright, it's you. Success is not hindered. A year ago, he signed in for the Devil Instructor skill. With the blessing of the Devil Instructor skill, he trained these veteran soldiers into screaming special forces. Although the god of guns is fed with bullets. But can't a gun god be fed without live ammunition? Air bombs are not bullets. It can be said that if you pull out any one of the 5 people from Class 5 on the grassland, you can completely defeat the ordinary special forces in Old A. As for the reconnaissance battalion directly under the division. Hee hee. I really don't take it seriously. Lin, you can play with Captain Gao and his team to help them have fun. Yes. The other few members of Class 5 all looked happy with the approval of their success. Chengcai has a high reputation in Class 5, and he speaks for himself. Their feelings are also very harmonious. Moreover, only these few people know how terrifying their class monitor is. Okay. Gao Cheng glanced at Chengcai and continued to order, Xiaoning Xiaoshui, you go arrange it. Yes. Gan Xiaoning and Ma Xiaoshui quickly stood up. The campfire was blazing brightly. The gathering is nearing its end, but the atmosphere has reached its climax. More than 10 armored vehicles were lined up in a straight line, with all the lights turned on, illuminating the wasteland exceptionally snow-white. Update and subject description. You are listening at novel full.audio. I have always loved the TV series Soldier Assault. However, unlike others, I prefer success over Su Sanduo. Although he appears smooth and versatile, he is not as down-to-earth as Su Sanduo. But is this ourselves? He has become smooth and versatile, but who has he truly hurt? He just wants to change his future through his own efforts. Compared to Su Sanduo, he doesn't have as much bo-lo for success, but all his achievements rely on himself. And Su Sanduo, without Lao Ma, without Shi Jin, without Yuan Lang, can be said to be nothing. This theme may be criticized by many people. It doesn't matter anymore. Because I have been brewing this theme for a long time, I must write it out. Even if my grades are in a mess, even if no one watches, I will persist in writing. So, paying tribute here, all ordinary, but always chasing our dreams. Add more rules daily v.income increases by 1,000, plus 1 change. 500 more flowers, 1 more 200 more evaluation tickets, 1 more update 10 more monthly tickets, 1 more change reward 1 person, plus 1 change. Top not capped. If you also like this book, give me some support. Chapter 5. I became a talent, it's not worth replacing success, May 5th. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. My success, it's not worth replacing success as the 5th unit of the 4,944th Division, the Division Investigation Camp is not lacking in good soldiers. Standing at attention, take a break. Gan Xiaoning shouted the slogan. Standing at attention. Turn right and walk in unison. A row of troops stood in front of the armored vehicle. This scene feels very familiar to Chengcai, as if he has seen it somewhere before. Yes. He remembered. In the TV drama, Su Sanduo felt a psychological burden due to killing someone, and then left Old A alone. In order to help him unload his burden, Gao Cheng specially brought him to Class 5 on the Grassland. By squeezing and humiliating Su Sanduo to succeed, he untied the knot in his heart. Recalling this scene, 3 words came to Chengcai's mind. Why? As a Special Forces soldier, I actually feel a psychological burden from killing a vicious drug dealer, and even wanted to take off my military uniform at one point. Is this psychological quality worthy of this military uniform? What kind of bullshit Special Forces are you? That's it. Sorry to say the words don't abandon, don't give up. What face do you have when you abandon yourself and yourself, saying don't abandon, don't give up, to others? More importantly, there were so many people guiding him. Even to unravel the knot in his heart, he resorted to humiliating others. Still those 3 words. Why? I became successful, but it's really not worth it to replace it. Chengcai took a deep breath. Since I have come into this world and become a successful person, let all these humiliations and unworthiness go to hell. Since you don't like to see the young master, why does the young master have a hot face to stick to your cold buttocks? Go aside. My life is up to me to make my own decisions. Bring the gun over, Gao Cheng shouted at the top of his throat. A lieutenant ran over with a 95-step rifle. Takagi took the gun and asked, how about this gun? It's been calibrated, the thief is accurate, the lieutenant replied. Gao Cheng pulled the bolt of his gun, nodded, okay. Then, he threw 95 steps to Shuelin. Shuelin took the gun, looked up and down, and then threw it to Gao Cheng before saying to Chengcai, class monitor, can I use your gun? What good gun is your class monitor using? You can't even look up to 95 steps. Gao Cheng was curious. On the side, Gan Xiaoning looked strange and said, oh, your Grassland Class 5 is truly a top class, with better equipment than our division investigation camp. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, there was a burst of laughter. The other students in Class 5 suddenly turned red and looked at Gan Xiaoning with an angry expression on their faces. Today, Gan Xiaoning has been struggling to succeed due to his unpredictable behavior. These people have long wanted to clean up and deal with him. Bai bar, what a good gun is that. I'm just used to it, Chengcai said calmly with a smile. Then he said to Lin, use it. Yes. Lin saluted and turned towards the barracks. In no time, he walked out with a strange-looking gun. This gun is indeed an octopus pole, but it has a scope tied to the bolt with a strap. Sniper rifles are not like sniper rifles, and rifles are not like rifles. Did you break this gun? Gao Cheng looked surprised. Another burst of laughter. Ma Xiaoshui also looked curious and said, Veteran, do you really want to use this gun to fight us? In his opinion, this gun is completely unsuitable for shooting. Yes, Lin answered with great certainty. Okay, Takagi shrugged nonchalantly, pointing to the snowy wasteland illuminated by armored vehicle headlights, and asked, shoot under lighting conditions. Lin walked over with a gun and lined up with the military station of the division investigation camp. Prepare. Gan Xiaoning ordered. Wait a minute. Chengcai suddenly spoke up and walked over to kick Lin, saying, Are you going to use an air bomb to compete with others in marksmanship? Ah. Lin finally realized and scratched his head, I forgot that our 5th class is not equipped with live ammunition. This statement startled everyone. Who doesn't know that the Gun King is fed with bullets? This Grassland Class 5 doesn't even have live ammunition, how dare they compete with the sharpshooter of the division investigation camp in terms of marksmanship? What is a joke? This is a joke. The soldiers standing in line with Lin suddenly felt insulted and glared angrily at Lin and Chengcai. Gao Cheng asked curiously, did your class 5 not even fire a live ammunition? No, Chengcai answered sincerely. Hee. Gao Cheng sneered and looked around, saying, do you believe it? I don't believe it, said everyone in the teacher investigation camp in unison pointing at Chengcai. He continued, he is a true gun king. Now, his soldiers also claim to be gun kings. But surprisingly, they are a group of soldiers who do not deserve bullets. It is said that marksmanship is fed with bullets. Chengcai, what did your 5th class feed with? Perhaps it's because there are few opportunities. Chengcai shrugged and turned a blind eye to the ridicule around him. So, I told myself, to them, that we should cherish every opportunity to touch a gun and shoot a target. Gao Cheng looked up and down at Chengcai and found that he didn't feel angry because of the ridicule around him, so he didn't have the intention to continue pushing him. Okay, let me see today. Is your Grassland 5th squad's marksmanship as impressive as you said? A platoon leader. 2. Find a few bar magazines. Yes. Drive a few more cars over and turn on the headlights. Yes. A series of commands were issued. In no time, Lin and several soldiers from the division investigation camp stood together. A few more soldiers walked to the open space carrying beer bottles that had finished drinking. How about this difficulty? Is it okay? Gao Cheng asked. Bright and dark, not easy to hit, Chengcai replied. No problem, Lin answered loudly on the side. Your soldiers have much more confidence than you, Gao Cheng said and walked towards the open space. Other soldiers also surrounded. Chengcai and several other soldiers from Class 5 are standing not far away. Prepare to shoot. The platoon leader ordered. Lin was about to press the bar against his shoulder. Then, a beer bottle was thrown into mid-air. He quickly raised the gun and pulled the trigger. Pop. A crisp gunshot rang out, and the beer bottle in mid-air was smashed into pieces. And the other soldiers in the division investigation camp didn't even have a chance to shoot. P.S. Chapter 5, still 5 chapters tomorrow, with dismal results. It seems that everyone is not interested in this topic. Chapter 6. What kind of devil class is this? 1/5 of. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. What kind of devil class is this? Everyone was shocked. What is the reaction speed? The soldiers of the division investigation camp had not even had time to lift their guns, and the beer bottles in mid-air were smashed into glass shards. Everyone's gaze toward shuelin changed. The military is a group that worships the strong. Although they were still mocking shuelin a second ago and looking down on Grassland Class 5. But it does not prevent us from turning our revered gaze towards shuelin now. The two are not in conflict. Because, shuelin, or rather, Grassland Class 5 has the strength to accept their admiration. Shuelin's performance is not over yet. Shua, shua. 2 consecutive beer bottles were thrown into the air. Shuelin raised his gun and quickly pulled the trigger. Pop, pop. 2 crisp gunshots instantly exploded 2 beer bottles. The gun kings in the division investigation camp still have no chance to shoot. Shit, what kind of reaction speed is this? Ma Xiaoshui was a bit annoyed. Although he has only been in the military for less than 2 years, as a student soldier, he is a key target of training in the division investigation camp, and Ma Xiaoshui did not disappoint Gao Cheng's training, with excellent military skills. Especially in terms of marksmanship. It can be said that in the entire division investigation camp, there are few who can find a better marksmanship than him. But today I was solidly taught a lesson. Old Wang, throw a few more of them, Ma Xiaoshui shouted at the soldier throwing the wine bottle. Shua, 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 shua. 2 soldiers threw 4 wine bottles in a row. Pop, pop, pop. Shuelin's speed was as fast as lightning. He didn't even aim and just fired instinctively, but he hit every shot. He fired 3 shots in a row and hit 3 wine bottles. Ma Xiaoshui fired 3 shots in a row and hit 1, barely saving some face for the division's investigation camp. As for the others, they didn't even have a chance to shoot. Don't use point shots, use automatic shots, Ma Xiaoshui whispered. Other soldiers understand and comprehend. This time, about 10 beer bottles were thrown into the air in a row. Pop, pop, pop. Da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da. The intense gunfire echoed in the wilderness, as if a fierce battle was taking place here. Shua, shua, shua. Beer bottles flew everywhere, and gunshots rang out in unison. The results of the teacher investigation camp have finally slowly caught up. Because 95 steps were adjusted to automatic shooting, the hit rate was also significantly higher. However, Shuelin still uses point shots, and each shot can accurately hit the target. The terrifying hit rate made everyone present sweat. This is nighttime, and it's still bright and dark. More importantly, it's shooting moving targets. With such a high shooting difficulty, it's unbelievable that the gun can still guarantee a hit. Isn't this a gun king? Finally, the gunfire stopped. Shuelin lowered his gun and turned off the safety. Ma Xiaoshui was somewhat unwilling and asked the soldier who threw the beer bottle, "Do you still have a bottle?" "It's gone, my hands are almost folding." Upon hearing these words, he reluctantly lowered his gun. On the side, the soldiers of the division investigation camp were all stunned. This time, they are almost losing in the investigation camp. 5 against 1 not only failed to win, but also used damage tactics, automatic shooting. Damn it, what is Gun King? This is the Gun King, right? Gao Cheng's face looked a bit ugly. He never expected this outcome at all. If it were Chengcai, he would feel better in his heart because he knows that Chengcai is very talented in shooting and may be able to defeat his soldiers. But Gao Cheng never expected that before it was his turn to take action, his soldiers would annihilate the division investigation camp. Is this still the Grassland Class 5 that I know of? Is this still the Grassland Class 5 that claims to be the hell of the squad leader and the paradise of lazy soldiers? How did you transform yourself in just 1 year? Shuelin walked over and saluted Chengcai, handing over the gun with a smile. Class monitor, thank you for your gun. I didn't embarrass you this time, did I? Get lost. Chengcai laughed and cursed. Gao Cheng also walked over. Taking a glance at Feilu, with a hint of appreciation in his eyes, he casually said, he shouldn't have stayed here. Looking at Chengcai, you won again. I didn't compare, so we can't talk about winning or losing, Cheng said as he unloaded his magazine and handed it to a platoon leader. I just fired 16 rounds, leaving 14 rounds. The platoon leader was somewhat surprised and said, you don't need to return it, do you? Our Class 5 is not equipped with live ammunition and keeps it in violation of regulations, Chengcai said casually. But this sentence stunned everyone. Is it true that the 5th class he just mentioned has fewer opportunities for live fire shooting, so it is important to seize every opportunity for live fire shooting? How could a class without live ammunition actually cultivate a gun king in a team killing and investigation camp? Shit. What kind of devil class is this? Sanner, take away with you. Huazi will sweep the glass debris before returning to rest. The exercise is over, and the herdsmen may come here to graze. It won't be good to tie their feet when the time comes, Chengcai instructed. A soldier with a tiger's back and a bear's waist immediately stood at attention. Yes, squad leader. There are a total of 5 soldiers in Class 5 of Grassland. Class Monitor Chengcai, Deputy Class Monitor Feilu. Private Wu San. Private Chen Hua, Private Wei Dai. Apart from Chengcai and Feilu, there are several solid new recruits. Wu San was sweeping the battlefield with a broom. Some of the glass debris was too big to be swept into the trash can. He picked up a fist-sized piece of glass debris, broke it in half with both hands, and then casually threw it in. He picked up another piece and broke it into pieces. Repeat the cycle. In just half a minute, about 10 glass shards were broken. These glass shards are mostly the bottom of beer bottles, thick and sharp. This scene was sparse and ordinary in the eyes of the others in Class 5. However, the people in the investigation camp looked at Wu San as if they were looking at a monster. That's glass residue. Let's not talk about whether it's hard or not, at least it's sharp. You actually broke it with your hands. Brother. Are you performing magic? Gao Cheng also looked surprised, and after a while, he regained his composure. Shit, is this kid a trainee? The skin is rough and the flesh is thick, Chengcai replied lightly. Do I have to tell you that this kid looks tall and mighty, but a year ago he couldn't even handle a sheep? Do I have to tell you that a year ago, Feilu ranked last in shooting performance in a row? Do I have to tell you that although Chen Hua and Wei Dai are new recruits who have only been in the military for a year, their military literacy is enough to quickly kill anyone in the division's investigation camp? I don't have this obligation, let alone this interest. P.S. I heard that V is rising rapidly in the early morning, so I specially set the alarm clock to wake up at 5:30 a.m. to update. The data received by V is average, while other data is acceptable. Thank you to all the big shots who voted for monthly tickets, evaluation tickets, and flowers. Thank you. Today's first update. Chapter 7. Hitting a beer from a distance of 1500 meters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Hitting a beer cap from a distance of 1500 meters. No, you. Your soldiers are so awesome. Gao Cheng stuttered as he became nervous. With both hands akimbo, the expression on his face was unclear whether he was surprised or angry. Is the skin rough and the flesh thick? There are many people with rough skin and thick flesh, and he has seen many who can chop bricks with one hand, as well as those who can smash several stone slabs with one punch. However, breaking the bottom of a beer bottle is still the first time. Who doesn't know that the thickest base of a beer bottle is not only thick, but also sharp? But in the hands of this soldier, it's no different from mud blocks. What's so special about rough skin and thick flesh? Isn't this special? I've practiced hard qigong to the extreme, and I'm with your surname. What are the unique skills of these two soldiers? Let's showcase them together. Damn it, I've been quite open-minded tonight. Who in the future will tell me that Grassland Class 5 is a grass bag class, and I'll slap him in the face. Gao Cheng is an open-minded person. Although he did have the intention of running a bank to succeed at first, now what he wants more is to take these good soldiers under his command. A mature military officer who sees good soldiers and crops growing well in the fields with the farmers cannot let go at a glance. They too. Chengcai pointed to Chen Hua and Wei Dei and said, "What unique skills can a new soldier have? It's just that he relies on his youth, physical strength, endurance, and explosive power to be slightly stronger than other soldiers. Oh, his marksmanship is barely passable," Chengcai said lightly. Falling in the years of Takagi, the meaning has completely changed. Good marksmanship, good stamina, strong explosive power. Boss, what else do you want? Besides being equipped better than us, those dead Old A's other skills include marksmanship, stamina, and explosive power, right? As long as you have these qualities when serving as a soldier, you should have the proper posture of a military king. Why is it so sparse and ordinary in your mouth? Gao Cheng gave Chengcai a deep glance and asked, "Tell me, how did you do it?" "What?" Chengcai was somewhat surprised. "Don't pretend to be silly, how did you transform Grassland Class 5 in just 1 year?" "It's nothing to do with me," Chengcai smiled calmly and met Gao Cheng's gaze. "It's them themselves. They themselves. Yes, they don't want to be cowardly soldiers among other people. They know that if they wear this outfit, they have to live up to it." "What about you?" Gao Cheng suddenly changed the topic. "Me." "Yes, you. What am I?" "You were humiliated and returned by the deceased A, becoming a coward among other people. Have you ever thought about being reborn? Have you ever thought you deserve this military uniform when you wear it?" Gao Cheng continued to ask. At the scene, the atmosphere suddenly froze. When Gao Cheng saw Chengcai still wearing an indifferent smile on his face, he immediately stopped getting angry. He no longer wants to squeeze this soldier, he just wants to see how powerful this soldier is now. Gao Cheng is also a military leader, and he knows that the army is a place where strong people are worshipped. If there is no outstanding talent in his career, he will never manage the Grassland Team 5 in an orderly manner, let alone turn these cowardly soldiers into soldiers. "Kid. Still hiding clumsiness, right?" Gao Cheng silently said in his heart. "Bite your teeth. Ha. Then don't blame the platoon leader for my exaggerated moves." Looking around for a week, he pointed to Chengcai and said, "Do you know this soldier? Our Steel 7th Company used to be the Gun King. Because he wanted to transfer to a sergeant and knew that the Steel 7th Company's ship was going to sink, he came to the grassland to become a squad leader. Last year, he went to participate in the selection of the dead Old A, abandoned his comrades, and thought he passed the assessment. But his heart is higher than the sky, and his fate is thinner than paper. He was sent back by the dead Old A and returned to continue to be a squad leader in a disheveled manner. But this person is a bull, and he trained his soldiers to become the Soldier King. But I want to know, why do you become their squad leader?" Xuelin and Wusan's faces turned red, and their eyes were filled with flames as they rushed over and tore Gao Cheng into pieces. To them, success is both a teacher and a friend. And they know too well how terrifying success can be. Now that they have been insulted by Gao Cheng, these few people are no longer concerned about military discipline and will rush over to argue with Gao Cheng. However, upon seeing Chengcai's stern gaze, these few people immediately withdrew their flags and stopped beating their drums. Chengcai is usually easy to talk about, but when he is fierce, he is more terrifying than immortals. Surrounded by a complete silence. The soldiers of the division's investigation camp did not laugh, nor did they agree with Gao Cheng's mockery of success. They can hear it now, no wonder the deputy battalion commander is constantly squeezing people. So the reason is here. Just is it wrong for someone else to transfer to a non-commissioned officer? Must we sync together with Steel 7? Gao Cheng was somewhat surprised. He didn't expect Chengcai to have such a high reputation in Class 5. With just one glance, he stopped the anger of his subordinates. Ha! Kid, when do I see you still bring it? Gao Cheng's mouth twitched and continued, Chengcai, tell me why you became their class monitor. Just because you participated in the selection of the dead Old A, or because you wore this military uniform 2 years earlier than them? Is it enough for my squad leader to be able to hit the beer bottle cap from a distance of 1,500 meters, Vice Captain Gao? Lin couldn't help but sneer. However, as soon as these words were spoken, everyone was stunned. P.S. Today is the second chapter, and there are 3 more chapters tonight. Thank you to all the big shots who voted for the monthly and reminder tickets, and thank you for your support. It is possible to update Xiaojian Jun with a minimum of 10,000 words per day. If other data is acceptable, Xiaojian Jun may add updates from time to time. Chapter 8. Saving the Face of Brothers, 3/5. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Saving Brothers' Face, 1500 meters. Can you still hit the beer bottle cap? Dude, I know that Chengcai's shooting skills are really impressive, but can we combine them with reality? What is the effective range of the Type 88 sniper rifle, do you know? 800 meters. Does Captain Yuan Lang of the dead Old A know? It's the lieutenant colonel who made Chengcai go from Old A, and his farthest sniping range is only 1,200 meters. This is already breaking the military district record. Gan Xiaoning couldn't help but jump out and sneer. I know your Grassland Class 5 is awesome. I know that each of your Grassland Class 5 is a talented individual. But, at the very least, you should combine your boasting with some practicality. Do you know what the concept of 1,500 meters is? Not to mention the beer bottle cap, I can't even see a person. Lin glared at Gan Xiaoning and laughed angrily, saying, I don't know what Yuan Lang is. All I know is that what Yuan Lang can do, our class monitor can do it, and what Yuan Lang cannot do, our class monitor can also do it. Ha, according to what you said, your class monitor is even more impressive than Yuan Lang. So, may I ask why he rolled back in disappointment? You. The two of them immediately drew swords and crossbows. Shut up, everyone. Gao Cheng let out a cold shout and glared fiercely at Gan Xiaoning before looking at Chengcai. Here's your night vision device. Can you hit a target 500 meters away now? Gao Cheng asked. Try it. Chengcai smiled. Generally speaking, the primary requirement for sniping is good eyesight, so if you want to create the farthest sniping record, you will choose a day with particularly good lighting. Sniper at night, even with a night vision system, the effective range is not too far. Chengcai didn't want to shoot tonight. On the one hand, I don't want to be fooled by others. What is a teacher investigation camp? Why should I accompany you for leisure, young master? On the other hand, he is currently watching very lightly and has no interest in showing off or anything like that. However, he didn't want Lin to lose face. Lin is his subordinate and also his brother. Lin has already blown away the cowhide, so he must save face for Lin. Okay, Gao Cheng finally agreed, with a hint of smile on his face. What's that, platoon leader? Go find a night vision device and arrange for someone to set up a target 500 meters away. This kid is much more low-key now, and you have to put in a lot of effort to see him show off. It's boring. Deputy Battalion Commander, 1,500 meters, Chengcai suddenly said. What? Gao Cheng was taken aback, thinking that he had heard the wrong thing. What kind of thing? 1,500 meters. Yes. My brothers helped me blow out the cowhide. If I keep hiding, wouldn't it be hitting my brother's face? 1,500 meters, just use a beer bottle cap, Chengcai said with a smile. It's like hitting a beer bottle cap 1,500 meters away, which is as easy for him as drinking water and eating. Gao Cheng was stunned. Gan Xiaoning, Ma Xiaoshui, and a platoon leader, all the people in the division investigation camp looked at Chengcai with the same gaze as they looked at monsters. Are you really special? Can you boast? It's amazing that you can hit a beer bottle cap 1,200 meters away during the day. If it's hitting a beer bottle cap 1,500 meters away, not to mention the northern military region, there are not many people in the country who can do it. Now 21:00 capital time. It was pitch black all around, and I couldn't see my fingers when I reached out. Without the lights, I couldn't even recognize the person in front of me. You said that under your current shooting conditions, you can hit a target 1,500 meters away. Dude, you haven't had a fever, have you? But tonight, there were too many surprises for Grassland Class 5, and everyone didn't underestimate Grassland Class 5 for a long time. Although no one believes that success can be achieved, no one dares to speak sarcastically. Without him, afraid of being slapped in the face. I have been slapped too many times today. Are you sure? Gao Cheng finally realized. Chengcai nodded. Coincidentally, checking in during the day has earned you the super night vision skill. Now, let's try if this skill is as powerful as other skills. Brother, this is a big night, even the night vision system cannot see targets 1,500 meters away, the platoon leader kindly reminded. Class monitor. Feilu and his team are clearly not optimistic about success and want to speak up to prevent it. Chengcai raised his hand and stopped them. It's okay, if you can't hit, then switch to 1,000 meters. If you can't hit 1,000 meters again, then switch to 500 meters. Anyway, I'm shameless and shameless, it doesn't matter if I lose face. However, I don't want my brothers to lose face with me. I have been with Feilu for over a year now, and his relationship with him is even deeper than that with Su Sanduo. As he said, it's okay to lose face, but he doesn't want to involve his brothers in losing face together. Go and take out the Type 88 that I seized today, Chengcai instructed. Yes, Feilu reflexively saluted and turned to enter the barracks. Gao Cheng gave Chengcai a deep glance. Have you decided? He asked. Okay, platoon leader, arrange for someone to set up the target immediately. Tonight, let the division investigation camp open their eyes properly. Is this where your pride lies? Gao Cheng wants to know how much surprise his former soldier is going to give him tonight. P.S. The climax of the investigation camp with the teacher is about to be completed, and the real highlight is now. I hope you will enjoy it. Sure enough, the data for publishing books in the morning rose rapidly, and a chapter was published at 5 p.m. So far, all kinds of data are unbearable.